Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's start the meeting. Should be getting ready right on time. Good evening. Welcome to the December 19th, 2023 meeting of the Mount Plymouth Sorrento CRA Advisory Committee. I am the CRA Advisory Committee Vice Chairman, Frances Knight, and I call this meeting to order, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Could you please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, I would like to confirm that each member is in attendance. Please answer the roll. Frances Knight here. Lisa Durant.
Present.
Tim Kiley.
Here.
Sandra Stura.
Present.
Thomas Vanderkeep.
Here.
And we do have 2 vacant positions to be filled at a later date. I would like to confirm that the CRA coordinator, Mike Johnson, is present.
Here.
I'd like to confirm that the economic growth staff is present. Mary Ellen Stern.
Here.
Kathleen Dial.
Here.
And Ruby Robinson.
Here.
I welcome all other staff. I don't see any other staff present, but they may come in. Many times Leslie Campion attends our meeting. She's a BCC liaison. Mrs. Robinson will be recording and transcribing our meeting minutes going forward, and thank you to all.
Commissioner, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Campion, our liaison from Broward County Commission. I'd like to call on Mike Johnson to provide information about the agenda items.
Thank you. Mike Johnson, CRA coordinator. Tonight we will be approving the meeting minutes for July 20th, 2021, November 15th, 2022, January 17th, 2023, and the CRA Advisory Committee's 2024 meeting schedule via the consent agenda.
Okay. And was this meeting properly advertised? You're going to get to that?
I'm going to get to that part, yeah.
Okay.
After that, we'll be discussing the regular agenda. Items A through E entails ordinance 2023, ordinance 2023-66, ordinance 2023-47. We're going to be discussing the rezoning application 23-24-4 Brightside Storage, CRA website requirements, and the CRA plan and projects. Then we'll be allowing the chairman and the committee members report along with staff reports. Finally, we're going to be requesting a vote on chairman and vice chairman for the 2024 meeting schedule. This meeting has been properly advertised and posted.
Okay. So the next part of our agenda are the public comments. And we have several cards if people would like to speak.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to read into the record a public comment from Mrs. Barbara Morris.
Okay.
It says, "Good evening, my name is Barbara Morris. I am a resident of Mount Plymouth. I've lived in the area since the early 80s. I've seen many changes, and I would like to express my desire to have input into future changes impacting on our communities of Sorrento and Mount Plymouth and surrounding areas. I wish to welcome the new members to the advisory committee and express my hope that you will work with the community residents for consensus on their needs and vision in the community, as well as future proposed development of the same. First, let me state publicly that the residents of this community do not support implementation of central sewer and water. We understand that individual developers can install these systems for their proposed development at their own cost, but let me strongly stress that most of us do not support any actions of a CRA or a county-sponsored system in any form. I understand the constraints that places on commercial corridor that lack central sewer and water, places on potential CRA planning, but please let me be clear, we do not want the added density that comes with it. We want open space to complement and preserve our rural atmosphere that so many came here for in the first place. We aren't trying to stop development, we're just ask that development be planned in such a way that we don't lose our rural country feel. We don't want massive housing developments stacked on top of each other, and we don't want to be turned into a mini Mount Dora or Clearmont. If you consult with residents beyond the various groups and clubs that you are a part of or work with, you will find that we also do not want to be turned into a tourist destination. Yet, it is my understanding from reading the minutes, the mission statement, that the intent of the CRA is to do just that. Most of the people in the communities have no idea what's being planned. They still think we have open space, equestrian trails, conservative development design to preserve the assets of our unique relationship with nature and peaceful tranquility of the community, not overrun by traffic and massive amount of people. In the past 10 years or so of the existence of the CRA, the community has largely been left in the dark as to what plans are. That is a portion of her thing, but her comments only could be for 3 minutes. So okay. I'll provide this as part of the record.
Okay, so this is, as I said, this is a public comment section, and if any of you would like to speak on the subject, do you have?
You just call them from the card.
Yeah.
No, I gave it to you.
Oh, okay. So, Joanne Maynard?
I'd just like to say that I'm glad that the CRA has resumed its advisory meetings. We have definitely missed it in the community. It does help us keep informed as far as what is going on. And the discussions are always great. Gets input from the board as well as does listen to the residents. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to see it back in form. Thank you.
Thank you. Clark Morris?
Oh, I don't really have much to say. I just want to, in case somebody said something I thought was a little crazy. That last thing that got read, I understand the lady's worries, and it's the worries we've had in this community all along. But I will say the CRA has not kept anybody in the dark. The CRA has begged people to come and participate, and has invited comments and invited working together as a community. We've had charrettes, we've had reports, we've had UCF come out here and make a big report about how we should grow our community, and it's all been very constructive and been very open. And I think the community understands that there are landowners and people that have property rights, and development is coming. But the reason we started all this years ago was to try to get that community input and to get a team together to make, when growth that comes, be better than just sprawl. So I think we've been working on that, and I know the commission has been helping us with that also. It's not perfect, but here we are. So I'll ramble if you let me, but I don't think that we've kept anybody in the dark. And if folks really don't want to see change, they're going to have to cough up some money to buy land and keep it themselves. So that's the deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Moss.
I just want to say that I contacted, reached out to the new owner of the tooth shop, and I received an email from her, and just says, I asked her if she was gonna move her business to Mount Plymouth, and she said yes. And she said that I could post something on the next door to let neighbors know, because we see activity going there. And it just says, I am a mental health counselor and will be moving my practice to Mount Plymouth. I hope sometime in January. So she was pleased that I reached out to find out what was going on. So we're having a new business in the CRA.
Did you say tool shop?
The tooth shop.
The tooth shop, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Jim Tinney?
Is there any update on the Hillcrest project?
On the what?
No, Hillcrest.
Oh.
No.
Nothing. We don't have, Mary Ellen Stern, any updates on the Hillcrest?
No, let me, who asked that question? Sorry. Let me look into it while we're kind of continuing through public comment, and I'll let you know what the most updated information is.
Okay. Were there any cards that people wanted to speak? Okay. All right. We will move on to the consent agenda. This is Roman numeral 4. And in this one, there, as Mr. Johnson already said, that we have several items on the consent agenda, and we will just approve them all together. I would like to make a note that and then we can have some more discussion, but that I did find some Scribner errors, several, and I think it was November minutes and January minutes. So what we can do with those, rather than going over them one by one in this meeting and taking that time, staff will address those Scribner errors, for instance, leaving out an and, or just small grammatical errors. Staff will do those corrections, and then they will email us the corrections. So with that note, I would like to see if you are ready to, if you also have Scribner errors, if you could please email those to Mike Johnson. Okay? And then we'll get those emailed back to us with the corrections. So with that, do I have a motion, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to, Lisa Durant makes a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Here.
Okay, 1. And discussion? Would we need discussion?
The discussion point would be that I'm just reading off the minutes. I was not part of this committee at all. And I had some questions about the items that went from 21 all the way to 23. That's 2 years. So I'm going to just decline.
Okay. All right.
So it's a nay.
Yes, ma'am. That's a nay. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, we move on to the regular agenda. And I'd like to call on Mike Johnson to give us the highlights of everything on the regular agenda. And then we'll open it up for comments from discussion from the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to start out with ordinance 2023-66. The purpose of this ordinance is to adjust the membership of the Mount Plymouth Sorrento Redevelopment Advisory Committee.
Sir, I'm sorry, could you speak up just a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. Ordinance 2023-66. The purpose of this ordinance is to adjust the membership of the Mount Plymouth Sorrento Community Redevelopment Advisory Committee and clarifies the boundaries within which those members must reside. I turn it back to you, Madam Chair.
Are there any, does anyone have any comments? We'll open it for discussion. Lisa, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
I do not.
Lisa Durant?
I do
Tim,
not.
Tim Kiley, Sandy, Stora?
Do I have a question?
Do you have, would you like to make any comments about this?
No, that was very clear.
Okay. Thomas?
No comment.
Vanderkeef?
No comment.
Okay.
Okay.
Seeing as there are no comments on the board, is there a motion to?
You don't have to make a motion. Right,
Okay. Okay.
All right, next is going to be item B.
I had
I'm
several
sorry.
slides on that one, I don't know if you're gonna go. That was the one where you were gonna go through what you did at the board meeting on the next slide.
Okay.
66.
Okay, just as a brief overview, we did this same presentation for the BCC as the CRA board, and basically it outlines the duties of the board of directors, which is the BCC. It outlines the duties of the CRA advisory committee. This information was provided to each board member in their packet, and this is just for a public view to see what those duties and outline of those duties were.
Okay. Are there any comments from the committee? Lisa?
No comments.
Okay. Tim? No. Okay. Sandy? Thomas? And I have no comments.
Okay. Next, we're going to review ordinance 2023-47. The purpose of this ordinance is to create ethics training requirements for the advisory board and committee members and create advisory board and committee members' term limits. Turn it back to you.
Okay. Are there any comments from the board, from the committee? Lisa?
No comments.
Tim Kiley?
No.
Sandy Stewart? Oh,
I just wanted to note that on the training, the county will work with the CRA advisory board members to connect you with opportunities for training. You can do it online. There are different events that you can attend to do the training, and you might find it actually really interesting. I have to do it every year, well, and you all will be doing it every year too. And it just is good because it reinforces it to you, and year after year, I find it something that's very, very helpful. But it keeps the rules at the forefront of our attention so that we don't fall into situations where we don't even realize we're doing something wrong, just because we're not keeping apprised of it and keeping it at top of mind. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I would just tag on to that, just streamlining it a little bit. I mean, it worked. It was just, I think you guys were trying to figure it out as we go here.
Right.
So we got it done, but yeah, just making it, simplifying it, keeping it simple, right?
okay. Thomas, did you have any?
No comment. We have to turn in our affidavit by the end of this year.
Right.
And I have no comments.
Okay. The next item is item C, proposed project in the CRA, rezoning application 23-24-4, right side storage, Sorrento. This is a rezoning of approximately 6 acres from agricultural district to planned commercial district. The new CP ordinance with limited neighborhood commercial C1 and community commercial C2 uses to facilitate the development of a mixed-use commercial development. On 12/6/2023, the Planning and Zoning Board agreed with applicant to table the project until February 7th, 2024. Applicant reconsidering the project site plan to be more conducive with the Mount Plymouth Sorrento Main Street future land use category.
Is there any discussion about this project? Lisa, would you like to start?
So will this come back before us before February 7th? Or
No.
after February 7th?
You'll get an update from the Planning and Zoning Board on your March 5th meeting.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, she's gonna come to you.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay, and, let me see. So our next meeting will be after
Will be March
5th.
5th.
Francis Knight
20.
speaking. Okay, March 5th. Okay, so they're gonna meet in February, so there's a way for you to get some information to us.
I can talk through that timing. So for the record, Mary Ellen Stern, Executive Director, Economic Growth for Lake County. So the timing is that the applicant is going to present revisions of what they proposed at that prior meeting. Prior to, and it needs to be sometime in January, early January, because they'll prepare for the public meeting on February 7th.
Okay.
So they'll go to Planning and Zoning Board on February 7th. Prior to that, when Planning and Zoning has received the kind of resubmittal and staff has been able to process it, Mike will share that out with the committee. So you'll get to see it before February 7th. And then individual members of the committee, you're welcome, or members of the public can attend the Planning and Zoning meeting on February 7th. But if a committee member attends, just a couple reminders. Make sure you don't sit together. You need to be separate, and that if you want to speak at the public comment period, then you're speaking as an individual, not as a committee, the committee as a whole. Just kind of reminders. And then moving forward after February 7th, depending on what the result is of the Planning and Zoning Board, they'll make a recommendation to the Board of County Commission, and then that meeting will go to, and that event will go to the Board of County Commission meeting the same day as your next meeting. It's just 9 a.m. is when Board of County Commission hears Planning and Zoning meetings. So, and then we'll give you an update on what the results of the County Commission's decision was.
Everybody's set.
Okay. Did you have some more questions, Lisa?
No, that was it.
Tim, Kylie?
Yeah, that was-
Okay. Thomas?
no comment.
Brenda?
I do have a comment.
Okay.
I went down 46 and going 45 miles per hour, and between Tuscan Oaks and then, what is it, Storage King? There are two storage units right there on 46, within seconds of each other. I do not, this is my personal opinion, think we need another storage unit, which would then be 3 within a short period of time, traveling. Plus, I thought we were looking at different things for our CRA than storage units. And that's my thought on it. Plus, the design of it is like a big U, is it not? It goes down Niles, comes back, right, behind Circle K, then behind the preschool or nursery school, and then comes out again. Am I wrong?
Can you put up this is Francis and I, would you be able to put that up on the
That is
screen?
the layout that was rejected. So
That was rejected, okay,
Right.
then I read that wrong.
Okay.
But I'm still opposed to a storage unit 3 within a 2-mile range.
Commissioner Campion, did you have any input on this item? Do you have any input?
No, because at this point, I mean, it's going to come to the county commission.
Okay.
And so I would be reviewing minutes from the planning and zoning board meeting and
Right,
comments that
okay.
are made there.
Okay.
And, but I'm certainly, very much aware of the design
Right.
criteria and the intent and mission of the CRA commercial district. So with that in mind, that's how I review those cases.
I just have a couple of comments. It's more what I heard at the P&Z meeting, and we were very pleased at the reaction of the P&Z members. Pleasantly surprised. The chair, and I forgot his name, but he right off said that there was just too much storage, square footage of storage compared to the mixed use or commercial. And I can't remember the numbers, but it was a lot. It was like 90% of one and 5 or 10% of another. The drawing, we've got the drawing in there, don't we? You have the drawing in there?
Drawing is in the packet.
I think it's in your packet, but it's not
Oh,
in the presentation.
maybe it's just in our packet, okay.
invisible.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one comment, was the amount of storage units, and you want me to go ahead?
No, sure.
Okay. One of us is the square footage of the storage units. He was ready to just outright say no. Also, if you look at the diagram, some of you don't have that right now, but it is like a horseshoe, and on the west side they are showing 5,000 square feet of commercial retail. They call the whole thing mixed use, but on the east side of that leg or part of the horseshoe, they're just showing the storage units coming right up to Sorrento Avenue. So the board did discuss that quite a bit, and wanted, this would be something they would have to look at in increasing that square footage of mixed-use retail shops along Sorrento Avenue. Too many ingress and egress points on Sorrento Avenue, which does cause a hazard for pedestrians and as well as vehicles. So there was discussion about how to eliminate some of those. We don't have a curb, but curb cuts. I'll go back to that in a minute. After discussions in another storage unit case, personally, I wasn't so concerned about the discrepancies in language between the comp plan and the LDRs. The LDRs are stronger than the comp plan, but I think the county attorney will be rectifying this discrepancy of language. So personally, I focused my attention on the other issues. I didn't mention this on my notes, but of course, design standards are very important. Commercial design standards for Mount Plymouth Sorrento. After the meeting, I just spoke to the consultant, and one of my neighbors, Karen Moss, has been working a lot on the grid pattern of streets, and she pointed out that the grid pattern exists right behind this property, adjacent to it. Forgot the names of the streets, but that's a grid pattern, and they connect right to Niles. So there's a real opportunity to use this grid pattern and take one of those streets to Niles to this traffic signal, and they may be able to do some creative work to eliminate some of these curb cuts. And that's also in our comp plan, and it's also in our design standards and the redevelopment plan. I did mention, and this is just personal note and planning note, would be that seems there's a real opportunity here. It's mixed use. The comprehensive plan encourages, it doesn't require, but it encourages residential mixed use. So there's a real opportunity to have some residential in this area to bring more activity to our main street, more pedestrians, make it more walkable. So those were just some notes that I wanted to share with you.
I would agree with everything you just said there, 100%. Just being a resident here, I agree, just with that corner. Can you refresh my memory on what's in the notch? Is that the?
Oh, I'm sorry. You do have that in this.
Is that the daycare?
Is it what?
If somebody knows, is that the daycare that's in between?
There's a structure there.
Oh, okay. Jim Kiley for speaking for the record. Yes.
No, so the nursery school is over here.
Is that house?
There must be a house or
There's a
something.
house
Oh,
that
in between.
actually got
Yeah, I
marked.
just wanted the one.
Let me look
okay.
back at the
Partial
drawing.
that's
Okay,
on the north
right
side
in
of 46th
between.
in the notch. Yeah.
Okay, Francis Knight for the record. In between is a house owned by Brad Kornowski.
Okay, so it's a private residence. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
I mean, I've been up and down that corridor.
Yes,
100
just
times,
a
but-
private home, residence.
Okay. I just think that goes more along with everything that you just said, I think I figured it out, and this is residential, so
Right.
that's where I'm more active.
Okay, any other discussion from the committee?
I have one question. Can you update me on Storage King? How did that go for? They were looking for more storage. So where
Storage
did that go?
King, the one that's just an expansion, the
They-
expansion, right, for everyone,
Storage Masters.
Storage Masters?
Is that what it's
That's the one
called?
that's right in front of, the expansion.
So that was passed, or what's the status of that?
That one was approved,
Right,
and Commissioner Campion,
okay.
had, some comments and some restrictions that she added for that. Basically, to get back with the planning department and make some
Sure.
improvements. Don't know if she went as far as to say traditional storefront, but to make it, there's gonna be a buffer, 200-foot buffer of trees there. There's a retention pond. I think it was approved for the square footage.
Okay. Would
So
they
that's,
not be very close to each other then?
they are close to each other. There's like,
No, I mean Bright House or Brightside and,
very close.
yeah. Okay.
There, I think Francis Knight, there's, I think, one vacant lot in between.
Right.
This property it was a little confusing to me, but it does include Hedstrom office. The builder, that's his office there, but his office is smaller, and I think they have up to 5,000 square feet, if I'm correct, that they can enlarge up to 5,000 square feet.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other discussion? Just for the committee right now, right?
Right.
I'm sorry, Dana. So on to the next one. No more comments.
Okay, next we're going to address item D, CRA website requirements. I've provided the information straight from the statute to each person on the committee. It outlines the general requirements, basically maintaining the website on the county webpage, keeping the minutes and agendas appropriately posted. This particular statute is to govern the board of the CRA, not the advisory board. So, but just wanted you to have the information because we've been keeping all the information, trying to get everything updated and in line across the board from the county side and the state statute requirement side.
Okay, do you have any comments?
Yes, I know.
Lisa Durant, for the
Lisa
record.
Durant, for the record. I know some information was missing from the website. Is it up to date now? I haven't looked
Yes,
at it
it is.
recently. It is up to date.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tim Kiley, do you have any additional comments you'd like to make about the website? Okay. Brenda? Stuart? Okay. Thomas?
No comment.
Okay, I have no comments.
Okay, the next item is the CRA plan and CRA project list. This information comes straight from the community redevelopment plan itself. As presented to the board, it outlined the economic development goal, the strategies transitioning the economy from a small rural community into a family-oriented community and destination for visitors. Community image goal to enhance the image and perception of the community as safe, family-oriented, small town, and a destination for visitors interested in the area's natural and cultural activities. Then we have the housing goal, which focuses on infrastructure improvements to encourage neighborhood redevelopment. The final goal is the redevelopment goal, which you have in your packets. Develops a circulation pattern plan for the community to provide safe and efficient access throughout the community. Work with appropriate agencies to develop transportation vision and network plan that identifies functional type, cross sections for different streets and recreational trails and pedestrian connectivity, and develop a traffic calming plan. Enhance the physical appearance of properties along the commercial corridor and encourage a uniform fencing plan throughout the CRA area. Create adaptive development standards to permit flexibility and incentives for redevelopment of existing building and sites. Develop a facade grant program to encourage the redevelopment of aging structures in the commercial district. Investigate options for water and sewer to the community in order to provide for commercial development opportunities. Develop a strategy for hosting festivals, cultural events in the community to attract visitors and to enhance the quality of life for the local population. Encourage neighborhood stability through the implementation of decorative street lights, benches, wide sidewalks, street trees, and landscaping, and on-street parking and rear parking. Develop design standards for the redevelopment of the commercial corridor. Develop a plan for stormwater improvements and placing of utilities underground. Include areas for public gathering spaces such as town square in the redevelopment plan and capital improvement plan. Next, we're going to discuss as part of that the capital improvement program, the short-term projects, the midterm projects, and the long-term projects as listed in the plan. In the short-term projects, we have a facade grant, State Road 46 street plan design, County Road 437, planning and development and environmental study, the Recover Trail design, and the master plan study. Those are all short-term goals in the plan. The midterm goals in the plan: logo development and design study, gateway signage, streetscape plan implementation, bike trail, County Road 46 to Willock Road, sidewalk and pedestrian plan, underground utilities project, utility master plan, market demand study, site-wide selection software, and wayfinding signage. And finally, you have your long-term, which is a utility master plan implementation and bike trail enhancements.
Ready?
Yep.
Lisa, do you have any comments?
Yes, Lisa Durant for the record, under 4 redevelopment area goals E. I know there was talk of retooling the facade program. Is that being done, and is there a timeline?
We should have a recommendation to the advisory board at our next meeting.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
And just for the record, just so everybody, the board members and the community can understand, these are anticipated projects and plans, so they may or may not happen, and as we do amendments, things get pulled in and pull out. So I don't want you to think everything has to happen right now, right? So
Forever.
right.
I mean, because I think it's a living and breathing document.
Exactly.
And it's up to this group to make suggestions for changes, updates. Some of these things we can tick off because they've happened.
Right.
And other things, maybe they should never happen, and maybe we need to add some other things. So I think that's the important part of what we're doing right now, is it gives us an opportunity to relook at this and see if we want to make some modifications. And I love the idea that staff is indicating that they'll have something back at the next meeting as far as retooling the facade program, because we talked about that a year or so ago, that if it was a more substantial program, that people would be more likely to take on, upgrading their facade, I feel like it should include redevelopment in general of existing sites, and we should see if we can use it as a catalyst to actually get some properties upgraded that are along the commercial corridor. Anyway, I wanted to just throw in kind of my 2 cents on the streetscape plan that had been formulated a few years back. I think that this is the time now that there's actually money coming into the CRA. This would be the time to look at, could we get it implemented? And what would that take, and do we need to go back and have that plan revised? Maybe we just need to get it out and take a look at whether it's feasible, whether things need to be modified. But to me, that seems like the type of project that could have the biggest impact along 46 corridors, as far as sort of beautifying and, again, you know, not to overuse the word catalyst, but I think it's those kind of things that actually get other good things started once you start to see physical improvements.
Right.
Can that come before utilities though?
Well, I
Well,
think
that's a good point.
utilities, I don't really think at this point the CRA board needs to be driving utilities. I feel like, we know from, what's the name of the development that Mr. Tinney asked about? Is it
Hillcrest?
Hillcrest, okay. We know that they are working on arrangements to get utilities. So by virtue of them getting utilities to their site, that will then make it possible for other users to try to, you know, to extend or expand those lines to their own properties, so that it's more private driven than public driven. And I think that, I personally think that that probably makes more sense.
So, Francis Knight, for the record, are you talking about utilities, or are you talking about infrastructures?
Infrastructure.
For
would be the
say,
better word,
complete streets. We really, they're not, I don't think Public Works Engineering will do a complete streets plan without drainage and, I don't know, future water sewer lines, I'm not sure, but I think that's what we're talking about, that it's easy to go put some sidewalks in, but we can't put sidewalks in without looking at the overall picture of infrastructure for water and sewer.
Well, unless you're going to literally fund, and maybe that's what this group, that's what your recommendation is, that this group wants the CRA to actually be the one driving an actual utility plan.
Oh, Francis Knipe again, I don't think we want to be the driving force, because we wouldn't want to have to pay for it. But we just care about the sidewalks and the street trees and landscape and the really wide sidewalks and cafe tables and the complete streets.
Right,
So
I mean,
we want
that's what I was referring to, and I feel like with regard to utility connections for, like, say, a site that gets redeveloped, the right-of-way would be used for laying the lines, and if a user is trying to make that connection, then that's going to be part of their cost they negotiate, or that they, you know, that they have to bear in order to redevelop their site.
Lisa Durant, for the record. I guess my point was just cart and horse. I've watched Bobby with the park, and what a brilliant job Bobby Vanilla did with getting the infrastructure. So then when the other pots of money came in, then he was able to do this project and this project. So I'm just wondering if streetscape, where that all lines up is all.
Well, I think of the streetscape as the area that lies within the right-of-way.
Okay.
It is.
So, and that would be what the county would have control over, as far as curbs, gutters, sidewalks, street lamps.
So we kind of talking about, hey, we gotta figure out what's gonna happen utility-wise before we start laying sidewalks, so that we're not ripping sidewalks up to do utilities later on. I mean, it sounds like there's two parts here. There's the utilities and our complete streets, which have to work in unison with each other when one happens versus when the next part happens.
Yeah, and the hard part is that we could be waiting for 50 years then. So I feel like over time, we're gonna see things have to get torn up and pipes laid, or they're going to bring utilities in from maybe the backs of the properties. If you think about the properties that are on the south side of 46, maybe they will be getting their utilities, from the southern side of their property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if we were a utility provider and we control the utilities and we had the money to do it, it would certainly make sense to lay the pipe at the same time that you're, doing your street work. But because we don't.
It's two different, yeah.
Yeah, and.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I
so we're
certainly
kind of,
understand.
we're in a, it would be, otherwise we just kind of have to wait
Yeah.
and do nothing.
Yeah.
And new technologies are occurring. I mean, it may be that depending on the types of stores and storefronts, it maybe, they won't need the same kind of utilities as like a larger commercial development needs. Right now, they don't have central services, the small,
Or, there is the, the way you phase it, hey, let's build our 12-foot sidewalk along one, but let's leave the sidewalk out of the other side, or you get part of it built and in anticipation of them coming in later with their utilities, and then we can finish the complete street. I mean, that's.
yeah, and maybe that's something that we work with an engineer on to get their recommendations on how to handle the fact that how we phase it, how we handle that we don't really have the pipes to lay now,
Right.
or the hookups to happen now.
Do you have any more?
Nothing further.
Sandy, I asked you for comments. You have more comments?
Okay.
Do you have more comments?
I'm just thinking, I'm a little bit ignorant in this, but I'm thinking if we had some of the things we're talking about, it might attract different types of businesses also. In other words, we're showing, it's not just a little road and you have a driveway. I mean, if we start to really project what we want to have for our CRA area.
Francis and I should just interject here that we do have a plan, the Complete Streets Concept Plan.
Right, that was referred to, yes.
And so we would just build on that. And that had white sidewalks.
Right.
Medians in the middle, I think, on-street parking. Cafe tables would be on the private property. But on-street parking, sidewalks, landscape medians.
Okay, and then, so we're discussing and we want to move forward.
Yes.
As a group, the CRA is making that recommendation. Does that then go to the county, to planning and zoning? Tell me where that goes next. I mean, versus us talking about it and saying it's a great idea, where does it go next?
Well, I'm just going to, you can interject. I was just going to say it's already on our capital improvement program. So our streetscape plan design, 2016.
2016.
Right, so we just need to be moving forward, and as Commissioner Campion said, we have the money now.
Okay.
Let's move forward. So I guess our question back to staff is how can we move forward with the streetscape plan for Sorrento Avenue?
We'll look at some recommendations and bring forth to you, and you can recommend it to the board after that.
Well, I think one of the next best steps would be for at the next committee meeting in March to do a presentation of that, the plan that you guys are talking about.
Complete Streets.
Because we have new committee members, it's good to get it back out, look at it, and so we'll come prepared for that presentation.
I was most impressed by the suggestions. Yeah. Absolutely. I thought, wow.
And we can have County Public Works look at that too, and they might have some suggestions about how it could be updated or revised. But just to get it back out, look at it, get familiarized with it, get Public Works to give us some input. And I think the key to getting the commission to take action is to actually kind of work on some things like this and then present them as, hey, we really want you guys to take this on.
Right.
And then we start working on the fine tuning of some of the details.
And Francis Knight, for the record, I understand that it's number 2 on a MPO study, and it's number 2 on Public Works Engineering study.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
I'm talking about Sorrento Avenue Complete Streets. Okay. And I could be wrong, but
I thought that was the 437 realignment that's up there.
Maybe you all could just confirm if it's on the MPO study, number 2 on the list, and number 2 on the list for the engineering.
And in fact,
could be wrong.
Mary Ellen Stern, for the record, so next at that March meeting, we'll also have representatives from Public Works here and so we'll have those answers, and they'll be able, that way part of the conversation when we're talking about streets, they may be able to help answer some of those questions as well.
And at some point, It would be nice, I don't know, maybe not that meeting, I just keep wanting to move forward, but it'd be nice to have some kind of charrette so that we get more of the community like we've done in the past at the school. And it was great. I mean, I don't know, maybe we had 50, 70, 75 people at most, but at least the community was invited. And they had different, over the years, Public Works has had different way that you could participate, naming the streets. That's another one that's, I think, on here. It might be in the goals and objectives. Street naming for County Road 437 and County Road 435, if we could find historic names. That doesn't cost any money. But yes, if we could have a charrette at some point, work towards a charrette, so we can get the broader public involved. Did I catch everybody? And I have some comments, and maybe you want to add to it. I just want to go down the list, though, because I feel that we have made some accomplishments. We had a facade grant program, and now we're just moving forward with some revisions to it. We have the complete streets plan, and now it's time to move forward with that. We have money. 437, that's in the works.
The PD&E has already been done.
Completed.
Yeah, way past
We're
there.
in like right-of-way acquisition, and that's why I feel like that's the one that you're thinking of maybe on the EPO.
I hope I was wrong. I hope I'm right, but anyway. Wekiva Trail Design, this is great because, I mean, not that in the past, we reviewed the plans and we voted on a different route. So now, we are still part of that. We just don't have to do most of the work. But now, I think Commissioner Campion has said that in 2025, they will be doing the construction up to the school. So from Hojan east to the school, they will be working on the trail. And that is going to be dynamite for our community. That is just going to open up a new world for us. So that's moving along. The one I'm a little concerned about on the short term is the master plan study. And I would like to know, I mean, a lot of work was done by UCF. I don't know if there was 30,000 spent, but it was a grant. And it would be nice to find out where we are on that. And as far as it would have to be approved by the commission.
Yeah, we might want to take that out and look at it again, but as I recall, there were some things about it that were real problematic, like
Okay.
really high densities that were recommended.
There were some high densities.
It was very,
Some high densities.
like, kind of academic. I may not be remembering it right, but I feel like there were things about it that was a great exercise for students, but in reality, I don't think a lot of it aligned with what I think the community wants.
Okay. So we'll be looking at this.
I was just Tim Kiley for the record. I would agree, Leslie, with what you just said. I looked at it, I've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. I think there's definitely some things there we could use as an anchor, to have a discussion about and build around. But yeah, it was very urban, ish. But that said, I think there was a lot of good pieces in it we could take away and add to what we're trying to get accomplished here.
So Francis Knipe, are there some things that could be taken out, amended, taken out, or you just think it's?
Well, I know it might be a good exercise to go through one meeting. We just dedicate 2 hours to looking at it and talking about it, and marking through what makes no sense and circling the things we want to keep.
Unpack, Tim Kiley, just unpack the whole thing, and let's just have an open discussion about what makes sense, what doesn't. Let's split it apart and figure out what we want to use and what we don't want to use, and then make a plan to go for it.
I just remember at the time, I was a little worried that the word would get out that this CRA board was like recommending 24 units to the acre and stuff like that. And it's like, oh no, I don't want anybody to think that's really what's going on here.
How I felt as well on that, the density. So anyway, we do have a study, and it would be nice for staff to decide how to move forward with that or go a different direction if it's not going to work. The logo, are we okay with our logo?
Do we have the logo?
Yeah, we have a logo. Are we okay with that?
The advisory committee selected a logo, but the board never approved it. to
Yeah, and
change.
I don't ever remember, I don't know why it never came forward for approval, because I thought everybody liked the
Yeah,
logo
we don't know.
a lot.
Well, if
No,
we,
you don't like it or you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I mean, if
Oh.
everybody's in consensus,
Yeah,
I mean,
where
it's,
is
if
the
it's a good
logo?
logo, let's just.
I know we
let's do
we
something.
have
We
some
used to
things.
have it on like all the.
It is, I don't think I have it on
It's
the
on your,
Agenda.
well, we took the nameplates
If
off.
you guys all liked it, maybe
It's kind
that.
of a, we got a respectable fence and a house.
Right. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's just
remember.
kinda,
Francis, I just want to say, I think the Wakaiva Trail is a big part of why I want to be a part of this
Oh,
board.
good.
I think that is going to be a fabulous
Mhm.
cornerstone piece to this community.
It is.
It's something for us to obviously continue to talk
It
around
is.
and build what we're trying to do around it.
That's Tim Kiley for the record.
I'll get used to that. I know I'm a new face on the board here. Yeah. I mean, I haven't
So
seen
the-
any other options, but I mean, I like it. I mean, if you-
I believe, Mary Ellen Stern, for the record, I believe that the logo was approved by the committee,
All right.
but never taken to the Board of County Commission to be accepted.
So-
so we just need to have y'all put that on your
Yes,
list to
right.
bring
Right.
forward.
Gateway signage, that's, I think we can move forward more now that the roads have been turned over to the county.
And we had drawings
Exactly.
for gateway signage.
And that would be great.
Finding locations, that
That
was
was-
where we got hung up.
Yeah, as I understand, what happened was several of the locations that were optimal, we had right-of-way problems with how to place the signs where
Right.
we wanted,
Right.
so.
Maybe we should bring a map back to the committee and take a look at the locations and just,
And that's Public Works again, engineering,
Right.
to help us. Utility master plan, is that, let's see. No, I just wanted to, one point was about underground utility project. That goes along with the streetscapes for Main Street, would be putting them power lines underground. And I'm so afraid that Duke Energy will come in and put new metal poles up. They're done it on 437 and I don't 44. And if staff could confirm that Duke is not going to be coming out here and putting new poles, that would be devastating. I might market demand study, wayfind. That's pretty much it, but I did want to just quickly mention some other things. Well, timeline for the following listed as goals. And we've talked a little bit about increase the destinations, that's one of the goals. And about town squares and moving forward with discussions and see if we have support for that, like the fire station, that will be coming up. One at Hillcrest PUD and one at Sorrento Park. If we could have 3 town squares, those and
and
redestinations.
you were just referring to the old, when the fire station is, with the relocation,
Right,
using that property as maybe like a town.
like a town square.
Right.
Okay.
And the other one's Hillcrest. And the third one would be Sorrento Park. There is a property in the front that's for sale. And that could feel more like a town square than the parkway in the back.
So back to the fire station site, because I think that is kind of, I would consider that one that would be a little bit more pressing, that in light of the changes that will be
Right.
happening, that it might be a good thing for the CRA advisory board to actually make an actual recommendation that you would like to see that as a town square. I wondered about the possibility, because that building will have to be torn down, and I wondered about the possibility of having maybe some public restrooms there so that you could host like the farmer's market idea, or it could be like an outdoor market or meeting place, so people could put a tent up and you could have an event there, but you gotta have
Some
you gotta have
restrooms.
some restrooms.
Definitely.
So maybe the CRA could be the one that funds the having some,
A design.
and
Unless.
a restroom, small restroom type facility, so that it could be used for the purpose of an outdoor gathering space.
Right.
So just
Well,
keep that, in mind and think about whether you'd want to actually make that an actual recommendation to the county commission to see if we can get something going in that regard.
Okay, so, any ideas from staff or when we could, how to proceed with that? to make a recommendation now? And is there discussion?
Today, me and Mrs. Dow went out to the site to kind of just familiarize ourselves because we heard Commissioner Campion mention it in the meeting. Right now, we don't have an actual recommendation, but the town square thing sounds very possible.
Okay. Would you need a resolution from us, or?
We would want to bring back recommendations, and
Okay.
then you make your selection of what you want to do, and then it goes forward to the board.
Okay, so if you could just check in for the fire station and to see if it could be town square and goals and opportunities, and back to the committee. This one is really important, and it's also in the goals and objectives. Create, identify, and establish boundaries for 2 market districts, one in Mount Plymouth and one in Sorrento. Determine zoning uses appropriate for these districts. That last one is my language. It is there. We've never worked on this, but I feel we really need to identify our market district, especially Mount Plymouth, where IGA is, Lang Plaza. So this is our walkable community, most walkable community. We'll also have sidewalks going on all the way to Orange, but we really need to work forward on this and create this boundary. And then what are the uses that are appropriate for that area, especially not storage units? So I would like to see how we can move forward on that this year. And I think it's critical because we are getting a lot of storage units applications. We mentioned develop names for 437, 435. If we could work on that. Develop a brochure for our website that starts focusing on all of the, we've talked about this before, Mary Ellen, about what this community offers. We have the trail now. We have the historic bike loop. We're going to have the trail through our neighborhood. We have a sports complex. It's a regional, a great school, and a walking town, a couple of restaurants. We need more. So it'd be great to have a brochure that someone could pull up and print off the website. And that would be the first thing they see when they see Mount Plymouth Sorrento when they Google it. And we talked about the circulation plan. This would be Public Works Engineering. It's hitting us right now. Here we are with storage units coming, and I hear nothing from Public Works or Engineering about this grid pattern. And we need to encourage grid pattern, increase it. And here's storage units, and they could have gone in without even connecting this grid pattern. And pedestrians will have to walk a quarter mile to get from Niles to down to Westward Ho or whatever. So those are just a few things. I'm sorry it takes so much time, but I just wanted to go a little bit more in detail on the capital improvement program. Okay, any other comments from the committee?
Tim Cowley for the record. I'm getting up to speed on several things. I don't love the idea of another storage facility. I just don't think that's going to be, not that the community may not need that, but I think there'd be a better location for it than what's being proposed. There's certainly other options, I think. And, just zooming way out here for a second, I'm a Lake County native, by the way, just so you guys know. I bought a home in this community in the middle of 2020. I have deep roots in this area. I live, work here, have a wife and a son. So just to give you guys a little context of me and who I am, but I see the trail being really the main artery for these communities, talking about Mount Plymouth and Sorrento, and kind of the epicenter being the East Lake Sports Complex where it's going to connect. The beauty of these two communities is that their proximity are so close to each other. If this is done accordingly, you can take a short walk or a short bike ride and get to the middle of it or the other direction with whatever you want to do, whether you want to go shopping or if it's a nice day, if you just want to take a bike ride, whatever. I think that's a beautiful thing that this community is going to have in the future. It's something that we should just, I know we are, but being mindful of that about how we go about planning to make that a big part of the community. And that's a big part of the connector. I came here today just to do a lot of listening, not a bunch of talking. But I just wanted to make that point. You know, you expressed your excitement about it. I think that's going to be a really wonderful thing that this community is going to have. You said 2025 is when
That's
the
what
next,
I
the next
understand,
section?
2025, or I've also heard 2024.
I heard 2024, so when you said 2025,
It
I was
depends
like,
on which one you ask.
yeah, okay.
And that's the part you're talking about from where it ends now over to the park.
Right,
And
Hoji.
I think
Hoji to
everybody,
to the East Lake Sports Complex.
yeah,
right?
and you know, we were really hopeful that we would be able to get the railroad right away to be able to take the trail on into Mount Dora. That hasn't panned out because they won't sell it.
Really?
And when we actually had that opportunity, a window where the money was available through some grant funding that the county had available, and we actually put an offer together, and CSX rejected it, and they don't want to sell the right away. So as far as getting from here into Mount Dora, there is an alternative trail plan that Mount Dora has worked on, and then there's also the Innovation District, so it's just not that much further out of the CRA.
Would it go down Wolf Branch?
The trail, yes, wait, no, it wouldn't go down Wolf Branch, but that's where I think we have opportunities to kind of
Do something. If that
relook at, you know, how are we gonna handle the fact that we can't use the railroad right away to get into downtown, and is what Mount Dora has put together the best idea? And maybe it's fine, but we just gotta get from here to what they've planned. It's more in it's around Round Lake Road. That's,
Okay.
and the trail would be incorporated into the Innovation District. So it's getting, you know, it would actually end pretty close to where the CRA is. So we would just have to get from, you know, where we know the trail, it would be around 437 north.
Right.
We have to get from there to the Innovation District. There's several really exciting things on the horizon, but it will take groups like this to actually, you know, make it happen and fill in the gaps to make it complete. But I couldn't agree more about, I think the trail would be the cornerstone of this community.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that Bobby Bonilla has been working on the trailhead at Neighborhood Lakes. And the plan is to have a physical building there that will be, it will probably be done like in 3 phases, but it will have a bricks and mortar type restroom facility, but there would be an opportunity there for a true type trailhead, maybe even like a bike shop or a place to get snacks or things like that.
Yeah, and I think most people know this, but cycling is a big deal around here. There's a lot of people that like to cycle. There's events. I rode in the Cycle Mount Dora recently in October. That's a huge event. That brings tons of commerce into town. You know, that's something many years down the road that could be incorporated into this community as, you know, something to bring, you know, revenue to businesses in the area. So, it'd be exciting.
Any other comments?
Since I don't know when the appropriate time is, but circling back kind of to public comment, because during this section, we talked several times about Hillcrest. So Mary Ellen Stern again, for the record. To answer your question from before about where the Hillcrest project is. A few months ago, staff was preparing it for public hearing. Then there was one report, a hydrogeological report, that was needed in order for us to take it to public hearing. It looks like that was submitted to staff in December. So to my knowledge, it hasn't been scheduled for a public hearing yet. We don't have a planning and zoning meeting in January. The next planning and zoning meeting is the one we referred to before as February 7th. But as that prepares, Mike, as the CRA coordinator, will, when projects are going to planning and zoning, if there's not a meeting that he can't do a little presentation here, he'll share it out with you, with the committee. And that way you guys are aware it's coming and have the opportunity to attend.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess we're down to chairman and committee member reports. Let's see. So at this time, we allow each member to give us a report. For instance, some of our previous members, Lisa and other previous members would talk about the Chamber of Commerce and talk about East Lake Historical Society. What other organizations you're a member of that you want to let people know the events are coming up or recent accomplishments? So, Lisa, if you would like to start.
Sure. Lisa Durant for the record. I'll talk about the East Lake Historical Society. I'm going to need Joanne's help because I don't remember the date for Heritage Festival. Do you remember the date? I don't have my planner in front of me.
It's in February. Actually, I don't have it on the top of my mind, to be honest with you.
Okay, we have Heritage Festival coming up, and I think it would be a great time for the CRA to be represented as an information booth, perhaps. So can I email you, Mike, the information, and we can maybe look into that?
Also, Lisa, a reminder about the book.
Yes, we have a book for sale.
It's called The Sorrento, Mount Plymouth, and East Lake County. It's by the author Bob Rainier, and it talks about the history of Mount Plymouth and Sorrento and East Lake County in the book.
Yep.
And it is available for sale at the East Lake Chamber of Commerce.
Yep, we have those at the chamber, and that's all I have.
Okay. Would you like to report on something, Mike? Are you in any organizations, other local organizations that you would like to give a report? Or you can share anything you want, really, but if you would like to talk about a certain organization that's in our community.
No, it's not.
Okay. Any comment in general? No? Okay. Thomas?
No, I don't have any community to report on, but just kind of going back to our Main Street and what we want it to look like. You know, I know we may not have total control over storage units coming in. Obviously we don't want them, but we don't have full but the thing I think we really want to concentrate on is making sure what's up against the street is walkable and creates a community, retail, those types of things. We don't want to see an entrance to a storage unit right off the street. We want to see, some stores and some transparency into a store, things like that, rather than just a gate with garage doors right there. So really it is about the visibility off the street to really make that feel like a community.
Sandy Stewart?
I'm delighted to be here. Excited to possibly have a voice in the development of this area. I think that we are in the gateway off of 429. You can tell with the growth on the cars on 46A, how many people have moved either to Eustis, to Verries, or this area itself. I think that I'd like to see all of some of the recommendations that were made. I feel that it's been a neglected area. There are places that we could make a difference and show how great we really are in this area. I mean, people coming down 46 don't get the best taste of us, I don't think, right now. It looks blighted in places that it shouldn't. And so that's where I got interested in participating, and I'm glad to be here. I hope I can make a difference.
Did I get everybody? I think I did. Okay, for me, I just wanted to share one thing. It's been a while, but we've worked with Parks and Trails, Bobby Bonilla, Gallus Quigley, and they've updated our Mount Plymouth Historical On Roads Bike Route. So I want to just pass this around. The good things are that it now connects to the Neighborhood Lakes Trail, and it winds through our neighborhood. It goes by the historic houses, goes by the sunken garden that we worked with our commissioner to get that recognized since, it wasn't recognized since 1926, but to get that recognized as a park as it was designated a park on the 1926 plat. And Lake Edwards, you really can't easily reach Lake Edwards. You almost have to park your bike and walk it to Lake Edwards, but maybe in the future when we have improvements to Sorrento Avenue, you'll be able to bike there. And I just want to pass this around, so thank you so much to Parks and Trails. At the time that, in October, it's great because the pumpkin patch is exactly the same time as the flowers, wildflowers, liatris is blooming in Lake Edwards. And they're spectacular. I haven't seen anything ever like it. But Commissioner Campion has visited, and thanks to our commissioner and other commissioners, that Lake Edwards is designated a reserve now. And she worked the first time I went to Leslie about the loop to get her approval. So those are the two main things. The wildflowers were really spectacular this year, and if I put a note on next door, please make an effort to go see them. And that's just one of those things that can attract people to our community. Just one of the many people from town, this pumpkin patch and wildflowers. Okay. Let's see, I need to call on Commissioner Campion. Do you have any report to make?
Just a couple little notes I was making as I was listening to everybody. I think for a long time, we've had some good aspirational goals, and like we talked about the nights and the things we've actually gotten accomplished. And so that is a really fulfilling thing to see. I think what's going to be really important going forward is there are a lot of things on the list, but I think we're going to really need to prioritize so that we don't just kind of go all over the place with everything, but we really hone in on the things that we can tackle and we can then see our results sooner than later, knowing that other things are longer range, and that's okay too, but I think we really need to hone in on things where we can have the biggest impact. I went to a seminar a couple months ago. It was like a land planning sort of visioning session for the entire county. And one of the things, the big takeaways that they were really trying to, I think, get across during this all-day event was we get hung up a lot of times on the densities and land uses, but often what really gives a place its character and its sense of place is the design. And if things look good and they have a certain character, we're not so concerned about how many units per acre, how wide are the lots. I mean, if they look nice and they complement the area and they make you feel like it's a place you want to be, then that's really that should be the goal. And so it was just something that I thought about in the context of the discussions that we have at this group. And for example, with the storage centers, apparently there must be a lot of money to be made in having storage units, and there's a lot of people that need places to put their stuff. But one of the things that we came up along the way, and I think that Francis brought this up, is if you could have storage units, but you actually on part of the property, but you had storefronts on the front part, the part that would be walkable and accessible to the people on the street or people driving down the street. You wouldn't actually realize that attached to it, behind it, was storage facilities. And so maybe that's the compromise in some of these situations. I think as time goes on, the real estate will become even more and more valuable along that main street, and retail uses would become more of a prominent use. But right now, it must be that they're able to get the property for the right price, and they feel that it's in a visible location, and that must be why sort of the market seems to be really pushing for these storage units. But maybe at the end of the day, we can help with the design part of it and make it a compromise and make it more palatable to what we're trying to achieve.
you know, in response to that, I'm an architect by trade, and I kind of think good architecture disappears. And, you know, in that, yes, if it's a good design, you don't know how many, how many per acre there are. I can't tell you what most of the buildings on 46 look like, but I know exactly what that storage unit looks like because it's ugly. And it stands out to you. I can picture it in my mind now, but I can't picture half the other buildings.
Right.
So it just kind of, good design will help it disappear.
Okay. How about, Mike, do you have any comments?
Staff doesn't not have any comments at this time.
I was actually gonna say
Oh,
one
you,
thing.
okay.
Okay.
So for the record, Kathleen Dial, Director of Economic Development with Lake County, and so I've done a lot of listening tonight, and it's obvious to see your heart for the community, and I think it's important for us as a staff to be able to hear the priorities from the people who live, work, and play here, and looking at, you know, some of the timelines in the plan. We have some updating to do to be able to take the priorities that you have talked about tonight and then present you with a more relevant, accurate plan that is a little bit more updated. So just thank you. It's been informative, and just know that you're heard, and those are things that we will begin working on.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Tim Kiley, for the record, I would be curious to see, thank you for bringing the trail pamphlet, by the way. I think maybe I've seen that on the internet, but I had seen a person like that. I would love to see at least the concepts of what it is to connect all the way into Mount Dora for the trail system that's here. Just so we have something as a reference point while we're talking about all this. I know that's a little off, 46, at least it sounds like it's going to be more on the north side, but nonetheless, you know what I mean, it's all within the zone that we're talking about for the CRA. Just wanted to add that point.
Francis Knight, for the record. Now, it may be on you're talking about the one going through our neighborhood up to Orange, or how far, you're talking about going through Mount Plymouth, Sorrento?
Yeah, I mean, the real, is obviously tying the communities together, all of them. Mount Plymouth, Sorrento,
Right. Oh,
all
yeah.
the way into Mount Dora. So you can seamlessly get on a bike and go from here all the way into Mount Dora and hopefully maybe into Tavares. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just talking about, up until just now, I was under the impression that the rail line was going to be used going down 46 all the way into Mount Dora. That's unfortunate that didn't work out.
Right.
I don't know what the rail companies intends to do with that, but that's a moot point because that's not, we have no control over that. But that said, it's just something I think we should obviously look at from a bird's eye view on where is our existing trail system and what's going to be done up to the East Lake Sports Complex. Where's that going to tie in to eventually go down to Round Lake and beyond?
So those are things that because I want you to have quality answers, so we can collaborate, and maybe when we bring somebody, maybe we can bring somebody from Parks and Trails in to talk so that you're getting answers from the right department that we collaborate with. But so
and an update, just like that, an update on, I look at our trail system through the community, and I can only guess where it goes around Atlantic, which is north and hits the school, connects the school. I can only sort of guess what roads, but it would be nice to be able to see.
Yeah, I just want you to have quality answers and a quality presentation, and if that's a priority, then that's something that we can work on trying to put together and bring it back, just like the Streetscapes project, where we just want to have the right people here from the county to be able to answer your questions.
Kathleen, Mike Woods with MPO, he can help you with that alternative Mount Dora trail location. Because I think we can look at the big picture, so we can see where our gaps are, and we know what we're trying to get to and where we need to connect in the future. And Bobby in Parks and Trails would be the one from Neighborhood Lakes to East Lake Park and then beyond.
Does the CRA go all the way to Orange Ave? It does, right? Is it go just beyond? Okay. Just a point, that intersection of Orange and 46 is a dangerous intersection. I use it almost twice a day to take my son back and forth to school. And with that curve, I saw some counters on the road recently. I don't know if the county's looking at that to make improvements, but I don't remember there being a roundabout or any improvement to that intersection within, that might be outside the scope of what we're doing here.
Well,
but it's
when we
just
get the streetscape
Uh-huh.
at the next round, next meeting, we may be able to see where those roundabouts were proposed. I'm not sure if there's one as far.
I don't recall seeing one at the intersection of Orange and 46, and anybody here at this table and in this room probably knows what I'm talking about. That can be a really tricky corner with oncoming traffic. Just something I think that we need to address, sooner than later. That would be kind of a top priority, to make that a safer intersection, because it's getting used more and more with the new housing developments that are going in. It's getting busier and busier. I've been here for almost 4 years now, living in the community, and it's just steadily increased every single year, and it's just exponentially going to get more in the years to come with the new developments that are going. So.
Francis Knight, for the record, I just wanted to add one thing. We did, Joanne Maynard did talk to, George, I forgot his last name, in Public Works, about reducing the speed, say from Orange through, it would be a lower speed, 35 from Orange to 437 North, that Sorrento proper, and then it could go a little bit faster, but then when it gets to Mount Plymouth, to reduce the speed down again to 35 through our town centers. And that would also help with what Tim Kiley's talking about, is the cars are just going too fast, be going through our main street.
Yeah, well, he can talk to us about it. I mean, they usually tell you that you can put speed limit signs up, it's not gonna change people's behavior. You have to actually do some calming mechanisms to get people to actually choose to go slower. So, but those are things that go hand in hand with the streetscape discussion.
Right. Okay, so if there are no more staff or committee reports, the last thing on the agenda is appointment or be a selection, nomination for committee. What else do we have? Staff reports? We're now to the committee chairman, vice chairman selection for the coming year.
Item number 8, appointment of chairman and vice chairman. Pursuant to ordinance 2023-66, section 2-80B, the advisory committee shall have the authority to elect the chairman and vice chairman from its membership to serve the needs of the advisory committee. Terms of office shall be for 1 year from the date of election, with eligibility for re-election as set forth in section 2-64 of this code. So we're requesting the action of appointment of chairman and take that vote, and then on the second vote you would take the appointment of vice chairman. So I turn it back over to the board.
Is there any discussion? Any discussion about chairman, vice chairman, nominations? If you're interested in serving, please speak up.
There are 7 members on the board, and 5 of them are here.
Yes.
Okay. And there's 2 vacancies.
Right.
Yes. There's 2 vacancies.
Yes.
2 vacancies.
One of the vacancies is a recommendation from the chamber, and then the other vacancy is just a resident within the planning area.
I would nominate Francis Knight as the chairman.
I would second that.
Are there any other nominations? Please, please. Okay, I nominate, I could submit a nomination. I nominate Thomas as chairman. Okay, let's do these separate. Okay, chairman, see, we have 2. Okay, how are we gonna do this?
Just take a vote on each one.
Okay, how many, I have to do my own? How many nominate Francis Knight as chairperson? How many vote for Francis Knight as chairperson, I guess, right?
Show of hands or?
By
Voice.
show of hands.
Aye.
One,
Aye.
two, three, four. How many for Thomas? Okay. Okay, motion carries. Okay, vice chairman. I nominate Thomas for vice chair. Are any other nominations for vice chair? Okay. Is there a second for the nomination for Thomas for?
I second Thomas.
Okay. All those in favor say aye? Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, Thomas is now vice chair. Thank you very much, Thomas, for coming on board. Okay. We're just gonna make it by 7:30.
Unexpected.
That's good.
We're gonna be out by 7:30. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Move for adjournment.
Thank you.
Just move for adjournment.
Meeting is adjourned. 7:30.
I'm sorry.
No,